You're listening to the Climate Dispatch podcast, presented by Sierra Club California and Angeles Chapter and Stranded Astronaut Productions. Available everywhere you listen to podcasts, we cover the stories of the climate crisis, from celebrating the wins to breaking down our fears, all while sharing collective hopes for the future. I'm Tia Jeanette, and today we're covering a proposed utopian California city, a project shrouded in mystery that could replace thousands of acres of farmland and open space with a city the size of Oakland. What do you imagine when you think of the perfect city? Walkable infrastructure, maybe tree-lined streets, picturesque parks where people can gather and kids can play, public transit that can get you where you need to go, maybe even a healthy mix of cute coffee shops and necessary businesses. For the Flannery Associates, they think their vision of a perfect city is just waiting to be built in Solano County. The next great American city, as they call it, is California forever. The idea of building a perfect utopian city isn't new. Philosophers have been proposing ideal cities and societies for centuries, and humans are constantly dreaming up the best possible way for humanity to live. In the context of today, where we're rapidly reaching destructive climate impacts and are overall a bit divided, the race to realize a real utopia feels more and more immediate. So when a real estate firm claims they can build one right here in California, it might feel tempting to see exactly what this city would look like. But behind the claims of a city full of opportunity lies a process that is shutting out residents, threatening protected lands, and making mysterious deals. So we went to the potential site of California Forever, where the Flannery Associates have been covertly buying up swaths of land to replace with this large new city within the currently smallest city in Solano County. Even growing up in the Bay Area, this was my first time ever visiting the city of Suisun? Suisun?
Can we do one quick thing?
Sure, yeah.
So when people come to Solano County and they haven't been here and they say Suisun, they really mangle it. And so I'd like everyone to practice saying Suisun 3 times. Suisun! 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 Because the people go, Suisun! Suisun! Su! Oh, yeah.
The Sierra Club Redwood chapter invited us on a tour of the ecological sites at risk with California Forever's development. I have to admit, when we first heard we were going on a tour with the Redwood chapter, I thought we'd be walking amongst the trees a la Redwood National Park or Humboldt Redwoods. Instead, we found ourselves in a relatively flat area of Solano County that didn't look like much at first glance.
I know sometimes people, they drive an hour, they get out of their car, they look around and they're like, okay, this is a grass area. And that's a big mud puddle, and why did I drive an hour to see this? Okay, it's actually really interesting. You just need somebody to show it to.
And this tour was all about showing us what's at stake if a giant city were to suddenly form in Suisun, again, the smallest city in Solano County. Solano County, just an hour up from San Francisco and bordered to the west by Napa, is a smaller county in Northern California that's been making headlines a lot more lately, due to this proposed city. But we'll get there. First, we had to board the bus.
You can sit right here. I can sit there. Okay, let me do that. Well, good morning again.
Good morning, Elizabeth.
We're just testing. 1, 2, 3.
Sounds good.
In the back of the bus, can you hear, Jim, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
Elizabeth Patterson, former mayor of Benicia, California, and our tour guide for the day.
So I'm from Benicia. How many of you have been in Benicia? Oh. Great. I was the mayor of Benicia for 3 terms. And as an environmentalist in a refinery town, I always think that's kind of a remarkable experience. It was interesting. So my involvement with California Forever is kind of a natural thing.
Elizabeth describes California Forever to me as
a collection of billionaires who've decided to come in with a vision of a community. This particular project is the size of the city of Oakland, and it is a gross violation of the democratic process because the city and the counties have adopted general plans, which are statutorily required, and they express the vision that the people have of what they want their county to look like and what they want their cities to be like.
The plan? Build the next great American city. A utopia, a 15-minute walkable urban neighborhood, bike lanes and greenways, a vibrant downtown with kid-friendly infrastructure and integrated nature. The claims? Equally large and idyllic vision. It will be America's first walkable city in over 100 years, with 170,000 homes added to support California's housing crisis, 530,000 new jobs, and a promise that their economic investment in the area would most certainly trickle down to the current residents. The proposed California Forever City is backed by Silicon Valley billionaires, including Reid Hoffman, founder of LinkedIn, and Marc Andreessen, founder of Netscape and VC firm Andreessen Horowitz. The idea is that this perfect city would bolster California's economy, but how exactly? Well, the city is looking to secure a defense contract with Saronic Technologies, sprouting up factories and a shipyard. This clouds the initial idea that this city is made for the community, and quickly brings in ulterior motives for these already wealthy investors. Alongside a newly developed city also comes a great amount of resource needs, like groundwater, sanitation services, new roads, and transit options. While California Forever is putting out reports that it would have sustainability initiatives like water recycling and solar energy that negate this worry, the actual planning process seems a bit less clear.
I'm trained as an urban regional planner and practice as a planning director, and one of the things you learn in class is that you do an opportunities and constraints assessment. And it's like they didn't do an opportunities and constraint. They didn't look at the constraints with, yes, they overlie groundwater, but they're also, that land is subject to the Groundwater Sustainability Act, SGMA, and they have to adhere to the adopted plan, Groundwater Sustainability Plan. There's no way they're going to allow California Forever to drain the groundwater.
So we're on this bus to learn more about how California Forever will actually impact this area. To set the scene, we're on a classic charter tour bus. Myself, our producers Megan and Sabrina, and our audio engineer Max sitting across one full row in a mostly packed bus full of Sierra Club, Greenbelt Alliance, and other Solano Together coalition organizers. It's a sunny Saturday in Solano County, and we're waiting for the last few remaining tour members.
So when on this boat trip in February, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of snowy geese. It was really spectacular. We won't see that today because it's the wrong time of the year and we won't be near those kinds of habitats. So I am killing time here a little bit.
We're probably a good deal younger than the mean age sitting on this bus, and everyone is equally passionate about conservation. Mark Stevenson, sitting behind me, made sure we saw every bird on the path.
There was a Swainson's hawk, which is also endangered, along the roadside.
Mark, why don't you come up here?
That's all right. I was a teacher in Benicia. I can talk really loudly.
And with that, we're off. The most striking moment to me was as we moved out of the city center of Suisun, there was an immediate stark cutoff from the urban developed areas to suddenly just wide open space ahead of us. There was one last boundary of a fence keeping in the last line of houses, and then just open fields for miles, and one single road taking us to our first stop.
I want to emphasize that one of the key things that we're trying to accomplish today is for you to fall in love with the grasslands of Solano. Yes. And so we don't want to just be talking all the time. We want you to be looking. And we hope to achieve that, so you have to tell me at the end of the trip.
A 30-minute bus ride later, we arrived at Jepson Prairie Preserve.
All right, before we get totally started, can I just get you to count off the people that are on the bus? I need you to count 1, 2, 3, 11, 12,
28, 29,
30. Okay, there's your number.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well done. Back to you.
All 30 of us gathered with the Solano Land Trust, the stewards of this preserve.
My name's Tracy Ellison. I'm currently the conservation director at Solano Land Trust. I love waking up and going to work every day and educating folks and talking about open space and working lands and the conservation and preservation of those lands in Solano County is a dream job, and so I'm very happy to be here. Certainly you're here because of the elephant in the room, the potential land use changes, the California Forever potential city.
The Jepson Prairie is a 1,500-acre natural preserve that has long been regarded as a beautiful grassland site for vernal pools and acres of wildflowers. It became a special site of interest within the 1960s environmental movement, as it became clear that this prairie needed to be protected.
Historically, this property was purchased back in 1980 by the Nature Conservancy. It's been an educational and science property, really studying the vernal pool ecosystem that is here and all of the wonderful natural resource opportunities to preserve those ecosystem species and plant species.
The prairie is now managed by the Solano Land Trust, with docents giving educational tours and introducing people to life under the surface of this vast landscape.
It's open space, is it not? We're really, as a land trust, concerned about this ecosystem and the impact that any type of land use change may come about. California Forever and their proposal, Highway 113 and its expansion, and all the way through this kind of southeast side of the county, this is open space.
As the current stewards of this space, Solano Land Trust is responsible for protecting it from potential threats. The ecological system here is sensitive to urbanization and development, hence the heightened concerns around the late 1900s, as well as climate change impacts in agriculture. The California Forever proposal would put the new city right outside of this preserve, in fact, bordering Solano Land Trust's protected land. While it wouldn't be built directly on the conserved acres of open space, the environmental impact from nearby development and resource usage could greatly impact the health of this preserve.
It's heartbreaking for me as a resident to understand that our scenic view, our landscape could be disturbed by any potential land use change. We're looking at open space towards Creed Road right now, and can we imagine a city in that space?
The real star of this prairie, and why it's so important to preserve it, is the unique ecosystem of vernal pools that naturally exist here.
Is there anyone who would like an explanation of what a vernal pool is and how it forms?
Yes.
Alrighty.
So vernal pools are a type of wetland that are distinct in their seasonality, meaning the water in them comes and goes. They're also distinct in the habitat they provide and in their rarity.
But there are two factors that make this land uniquely suitable for vernal pools. One is that we live in a Mediterranean climate. So we have cool, wet winters. I came from Minnesota, don't tell me cold. Cool, wet winters and hot, dry summers.
These shallow pools only exist in Mediterranean climates and are especially found across a few spots in California. While they might look just like puddles, these vernal pools are actually trapping water with an impenetrable claypan soil layer. At Jepson Prairie, this clay was deposited nearly 100,000 years ago. The pools are fed by rainfall in the area, so in the winter they'll fill up, and by summer it'll be like they never existed. We visited in the springtime, so the ponds were filled and surrounded by vibrant yellow wildflowers. Under that beautiful gold surface layer, these pools are supporting rare, endangered, and some even endemic species.
There's a lot of interesting, rare plants and animals that call this area home. And so that was what led to the push in the 60s and 70s to protect this property.
And these vernal pools might not immediately evoke the same feelings as being surrounded by 1,000-year-old redwoods or at the base of striking mountains, but they hold a significance to these species that have called them home since before the Ice Age.
We got all our people. You guys can come join our circle. Welcome to our circle. All right, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to my circle. Thank you for being here. People have been standing out here in circles on this prairie for thousands of years. So, you know, talking about different things. It used to be about mammoth hunting, and now it's about looking at flowers. So, you know, we do what we can do. All right, well, welcome to the prairie.
That's CJ, Solano Land Trust docent, whose job on the tour was to show us what we're missing lurking beneath the pools of this prairie.
I've actually been a docent out here for 28 years.
Wow.
And I think this is probably the best job in the world. They don't pay a dime, but the satisfaction is off the charts. So it is fun, fun, fun. But I am also honored to be not just your docent, I am your dipper, which means that I am the guy that went out earlier this morning with a net to dip the animals out of the pool for you to look at. I want to kind of show you guys what's going on with this pool over here and why you came here to see it. But right now, if you stick a net in the water, it is teeming with life.
These vernal pools are dominated by different life forms, but the first animal CJ showed us was a very special type of shrimp.
And that is weird, because usually when you think shrimp, you think seawater, right? The ocean, you know, that kind of stuff. But this is not seawater, this is fresh water, okay? This is the vernal pool tadpole shrimp. These guys are ancient.
The evident oohing and awing amongst our group came as CJ presented these tiny shrimps. They look almost like mini horseshoe crabs with wide shells and cute little tails. They're basically living fossils who haven't changed their appearance much over their millions of years of existence as a species. But they have changed the way that they interact with the world.
Okay, about 450 million years ago, there was a group of shrimp that appeared on this planet. And they were extremely well adapted to their environment. And one of the things that they developed is they developed a way of breathing through their feet. So they have these flat, kind of leaf-like, feathery feet that actually work like gills, and they can breathe through their feet.
For millennia, these little creatures called the ocean home, and they lived happily in the saltwater with no threats.
Until something horrible happened, which is another group of animals showed up, which was the fish with jaws. And once the fish with jaws showed up, that was a disaster for the brachiopods, because they're well adapted, but they're basically just fish food, you know, they're swimming fish food. So the brachiopods tried to figure out a way to get away from the fish. The brachiopods figured out how to literally cheat death, and they figured out how to fly.
Okay, those are two pretty big assertions. What this really means is that the tadpole shrimp evolved to have incredibly durable eggs. The first claim, cheating death, means that the eggs can go into a state of dormancy when the vernal pools dry up, and survive until the water returns. The second claim, the ability to fly, comes from a pretty interesting relationship between these shrimp's resilient eggs and nearby birds.
They figured out how to make a partnership with birds, because those little eggs, once they're full of sugar and they're all dried out, they're very durable. And they will survive the passage through a bird's digestive system. So a bird can eat a pregnant shrimp, fly over to another pool, and then poop all those eggs out in another pool somewhere else.
And of course, you don't survive millions of years as a species without reproduction. For these vernal pool tadpole shrimp, gender roles don't seem to matter when it comes to birthing season.
Every tadpole shrimp can have sex with any other tadpole shrimp, and by the end of the season, they will all be pregnant. Every one of them.
Wow.
This is an endangered species. We've got thousands of them, so sometimes people are like, well, how is it endangered if you've got thousands of them? Because globally, they're crazy rare. They only live here. They have very, very little habitat left. So because of habitat loss, they are massively endangered.
So these shrimp have evolved over 450 million years, defying death and preconceived notions of shrimp, to survive in these vernal pools. CJ showed us a few other species that call this pool home, and saved the best for last, the endangered California tiger salamanders.
Okay, now the last animal I want to pass around is probably one of my favorite things out here. Very popular item, that's why I like to end with it. Here on the preserve, we have thousands of California tiger salamanders. But you will never see one. So anyone want to guess where are all our salamanders?
In the mud.
They're underground. So we have thousands of salamanders. They live in gopher burrows. They don't do a whole lot. They don't eat much. They don't move much. They barely even breathe. I mean, they just sort of lay there in a almost like a comatose, half unconscious state. I think they're dreaming, and they just sit there for years and years and years. They do almost nothing. But when they're about 6, 7, 8 years old, they feel the urge, and on a nice rainy winter night, they come out of their burrows and they go back to the pool that they were born in so that they can mate and lay eggs.
Vernal pools didn't used to be as rare as they are today. Over the years, they've been lost to development and aren't officially protected. Solano Land Trust is keeping this site as preserved and protected as they can.
Unfortunately, we have lost about 90% of those Ice Age pools. They've turned into houses and farms and streets and everything else, and we only have about 10% left. This is one of the few remaining Ice Age vernal pools still in California. So we've lost the mastodons and the giant sloths and everything, but we still have our vernal pools, okay? And we can treasure those.
The Solano Land Trust docents describe this as a dream job, because these open spaces and the species that live here bring them a lot of joy. Part of allowing visitors onto this protected land is spreading that feeling of excitement in seeing the beautiful acres of fields, the sleeping salamanders, and the birds migrating through. Mark Stevenson, our bird expert for the day, made sure we didn't miss the birds at the vernal pool, as our group caught a glance at a flock of pelicans before returning to the bus.
Pelicans.
Pelicans, yeah.
Beautiful flies. See, there's a guy just to the right of that tower back there.
Oh, wow.
A little above the tower.
I see it.
There's got to be 10, 20, 30, there's probably 45 pelicans there.
Check out those pelicans.
Wow.
It's just the way they
We're over 25 species of birds already.
Have you ever wondered what businesses are doing, or should be doing, to confront climate change? The award-winning podcast Climate Rising from Harvard Business School is tackling these questions and more, with over 1 million downloads today. Recently named one of the best environmental podcasts by Earth.org, Climate Rising offers an exclusive glimpse into how entrepreneurs, business executives, and policy leaders are addressing climate change. Each episode explores cutting-edge strategies from climate storytelling and marketing to decarbonization and beyond. If you need a place to start, dive in with their 4-part miniseries about regenerative agriculture and why it's increasingly central to conversations around climate resilience, farm economics, and food system risk. Follow the Climate Rising podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So, Solano Land Trust is understandably worried about the impacts of California Forever's proposed development surrounding their conserved spaces. But what about the land that Flannery Associates are actually buying up? Our next stop on the tour asked this exact question, as we visited agricultural land stewarded by 2 farmers who are refusing to sell their farm to the California Forever project. A little backstory here. About 8 years ago, in 2018, a weird phenomenon started in the area. Land in Solano County was being bought up in large amounts. Land that consists mostly of working and producing farms, and land that surrounds a major military airbase, Travis Air Force. So a mysterious entity acquiring this land chimed some immediate alarm bells. It wasn't until a New York Times story revealed Flannery Associates as the group behind the big land grab that they finally revealed themselves and their intentions. By that point, they'd already spent $800 million. Their proposal frames this as a city built from less prime farmland, when in reality they're purchasing crucial agricultural land stewarded by farmers that have been there for generations. For some farmers, the money Flannery offered was too good to refuse. For others, the farmers say they're being threatened after telling Flannery no. So our next stop was lunch at McCormick Ranch, where farmers Al and Jeannie are holding out from pressure from Flannery Associates against California Forever. We arrived at a lush piece of the farm right on the Sacramento River, where we were treated to live music and lunch while looking out at the view.
Feed your baby onions so you can find them in the garden after dark. Feed your baby onions so you can find them in the dark.
McCormick Ranch has been in Jeannie's family for years, and the thought of selling just wasn't an option to her and Al, even when offered a price way over market value, apparently up to $30 million.
We're here until we're in our coffins, and then we'll probably bury the coffins right here. So
farmers have complained about intimidation tactics from California Forever, and the group even launched a lawsuit against farmers in the area, accusing them of price fixing. The issue of California Forever goes deeper than the ecological land that's threatened here. The secretive way Flannery Associates has gone about acquiring the land has upset locals and representatives, and the planning has mostly revolved around these big ideas of what a perfect American city could look like. Miguel, Sierra Club California Executive Director, tells me that
California Forever is the idea of, what if we built a city and built it in a way that functioned for a select few. Fund it in a way that's coming from a select few, and build it in a way that has no regard for its development and only focuses on its end result. Driven by just a large amount of funding coming from areas like Silicon Valley, the city is painted to be as sort of this solution for ever outgrowing and lack of space inside urban centers. When you step outside of that and you go on tours like the ones that we went on today, you get a chance to actually see, not just what's at risk, but what's at risk beyond just the place, what's at risk for the protections that we have, what's at risk for our voice.
Elizabeth echoes the same sentiment, that there's a larger worry at stake here.
It has profound impacts on everyone, not just people that like grasslands or sheep or cattle. What they're doing is they're overriding the vision of the general plan. If they can do that in Solano County, they can do that in any county in the state of California. Financial institutions know how to fund new things. They don't have much of a sense of how to fund and restore and repurpose things.
The Flannery Associates are not just ignoring the community, they're actively trying to get around them. Solano County has something called an Orderly Growth Initiative that requires voters to approve development plans. In 2024, Flannery Associates proposed the East Solano Plan, requesting to rezone 17,500 acres of the farmland they'd acquired to build the California Forever city. When polls showed wide opposition, some saying 77% of residents disapproved, the plan was suddenly pulled from the ballot. So they started looking for another way around.
The proposal now is to annex this land, and under California law, Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO, is the last decision body besides the courts.
The East Solano Plan became the Sassoon Expansion Plan, which asked the city manager to expand the city limits through annexation, therefore taking away the people's right to vote on the project.
And they will make a decision about whether you can do this. 5 votes on the LAFCO versus all the voters in the county of Solano. It puts to bed the concept that the public gets to have a vision about what happens to not only their neighborhoods. They've already been put on notice that they have little to say about what happens in their neighborhoods. The legislation says general plans for future generations to protect natural resources. It doesn't say general plans for future generations of billionaires to do whatever they want to do.
This is not just about a bill. This is not just about, conservation at its finest and trying to protect a specific piece of land, environmental protection and the climate crisis will not be solved by us destroying the areas that provide us the joy that we currently live in. These things are happening and they're tangible, and they will change and shape the future of maybe not just in my lifetime, but for lifetimes to come.
Because California Forever has been veiled in many ways in mystery, it was very questionable how they originally attempted to acquire all the land and pull these pieces together. I don't think we should trust the estimates that are being made. It's largely a huge piece of environmental degradation through the capture by people with very moneyed interests. Yeah.
If we're worried about the impact that this proposed city could have on infrastructure like groundwater supply and water quality, on conserved and protected lands like Jefferson Prairie, and on agricultural land like Alan Geeney's farm, there are processes in place in California to assess all of these potential issues before building. So what about the environmental impact reports?
Right, so the notice of preparation was over in December of 2025. And so you can read the comments if the public wants to see what other people say, agencies, state agencies, water districts, and what have you. You can read those comments. And now the consultants are preparing the environmental impact report, which is identifying the potential significant impacts, and then with mitigation measures. And if the city council approves that, the city gets $3 million. Some people might suggest that's a bribe. I'm not saying that.
Okay. Not officially.
Not officially.
For people close to the potential site, like John, another member of our tour, this project and the way California Forever has gone about pursuing it feels personal.
You may not be here, but this place impacts you. It has a dramatic and direct role in the sustenance of humanity and nature, and there's an important balance to maintain with that. And, the pursuits of several, wealthy people who don't see this for those resources and see it as just another place on the planet left to be exploited really comes at the cost of many of us who don't have the time to come here today like I do and see firsthand how this is going to dramatically change the shape of society. And for us to ignore the evolutionary signs of life here and just like what that means for the future of this planet and decide that the cities we have today aren't sufficient enough and we don't want to invest in them. Instead, we want to take a beautiful piece of green space and turn it into something else is kind of a sad statement for the state of humanity.
But we're not going to let that happen.
Over my f***ing dead body.
We'll beep that out.
Just put a beep over it.
Thank you.
This open space intended for the new California Forever city is clearly held close to many residents' hearts and has been stewarded for thousands of years as a home for unique ecological sites and a variety of species. Flannery Wait, what?
What are they? Right there in the parking lot. Ringneck pheasant. We've now seen 52 species of birds. If you're keeping track.
Flannery Associates have bought 62,000 acres of farmland, but have only submitted the plan for the California Forever City to take up 17,500 acres. Given the mysterious beginnings and semi-shady dealings, it's hard for Solano County residents to not worry about what that other 44,500 acres might be proposed for in the future. If we put California Forever into a separate box that is exempt from environmental review and community input, it could open up a whole new world for the future of Solano County and California at large. Solano Together, the coalition built from environmental groups, farmers, and community organizers, is working to ensure the residents of Suisun and surrounding areas do have a say as this project inevitably continues to try to move forward. In the most recent news, the Flannery Associates lost the deal with the defense company Saronic Technologies. They might say the opposition cost California jobs and economic prosperity, But the opposition certainly maintains that it protected this community, and will continue to do so. Playing us out is Primetime Recount by Clown Sounds.
Hi, it's Megan from the Sierra Club Angeles chapter. If this episode moved you, I'm here to invite you to turn that energy into action. Support our environmental and social justice work today with a donation at sierraclub.org/California. Every win for climate and justice starts with a community. Join ours at sierraclub.org/California.
The Climate Dispatch is a podcast by Stranded Astronaut Productions in Sierra Club, California and Angeles chapters, produced by myself, Taya Jeanette, and Megan Spatz, with associate producer Sabrina Claros. Audio engineering and editing by Maxfield Biggs, and original theme music and score by Phil Hamilton.